Alright, this week's bait is a drop shot. This is how I rig it up. I take, this is 20-pound braid, 10-pound fluorocarbon, Suffix 832 braid and Sunline FC Sniper fluorocarbon. You just cross your lines and then you twist them. Twist your fluorocarbon around your braid about 6 or 7 times. And take your fluorocarbon tag in and come between the crack that you made with your fluorocarbon and braid. Now take your braid, twist it around your fluorocarbon 6 or 7 times. And you're going to come back through. Now it's a hole. The same thing you did with the fluorocarbon tag in. You're going to come back through and make sure you go opposite the way you did with your fluorocarbon. So I came from back to this way, so now I'm going to go from this way to the back. And you grab your tag ends and you grab your main lines, and you're going to cinch it all down at one time. It's a little tricky. Took some practicing and lubricate it. Important thing with this knot is to have similar diameters in your line on your fluorocarbon and your braid. And make sure it's good and tight. And you come in and clip off the fluorocarbon. Find your scissors. Clip off your fluorocarbon. I do that real tight to the knot. It's not going to slip. You cinch it down good. And then I like to leave a little bit of a tag in on the braid because it'll go through the rod. It's a lot more limber. It'll go through the eyes fine, and it's so far up the line I don't think it matters. But that way, if it starts to fray, it won't come through the knot. And you can always just you can cut it tight and put a little tad of super glue on there. But I'd rather do it that way. It goes through the eyes good. Now, I like to reel my knot up to the second eye. And that's whenever I'm doing a leader with almost any kind of rod. If I'm doing a braid, a fluorocarbon leader, I like to be able to hook my hook on my reel or on my hook keeper with my line in the second knot, my knot in the second eye of my rod. So now, in this situation, you're gonna leave about 12 more inches for your drop shot weight. Now to tie your hook on, I just use a regular Gamakatsu G-Lock worm hook. It's a light wire, 2/0. There's 2 different ways of drop shotting as far as the way you use your hook. Some people nose hook a bait, like when you're up north, especially on the smallmouth stuff, you're drop shotting for, you know, out in open stuff. You can just use a little old circle hook and nose hook your bait, or you can Texas rig it, and that's when you use an offset hook like this. You'll actually bring the head of the bait up to here and then tag your hook back in. Now when you're tying your hook, make sure you go through your line from the front of the hook to the back of the hook. This is important. It'll come up in a second as to why. But you want to take your line, go through, and you're just going to tie a regular Palomar knot. You go back through. You want to make sure you're on your tag in, you leave about 12 inches. Now, you just do your regular knot, take your line, tag in, twist around your main line 6 or 7 times. Come through the 2 loops you made earlier. Back through the loop you just made. And you're gonna cinch it all down. You wanna make sure you keep that tag in real long. Now the reason you went through the front of the hook, now you're gonna take your tag in and come back through the front of the hook. What that's going to do is make your hook stand out like that. So now when you put your bait on there and your weight's down at the bottom, your bait's on there to be standing out like that. That's what you want. Tom Man taught me that. He is a fantastic drop shotter. Alright, now you're going to get your weight. See, I got about 12 inches left. I like to go with a 3/8 ounce weight typically if I'm fishing 15 to 20 feet deep. That seems to be a good size, not to fall too fast, but to get it on down in brush or whatever cover you're fishing. You just put the line through the little loop here and you pull it up and it catches in that crease. That's what it's made to do. And you can drop shot almost anything. Typically I like a narrow 6-inch worm, like a robo worm, or these are watermelon red flake shaky squirrels from Big Bite Baits. Just got a good tapered end there. Real narrow worm. It's gonna have a lot of action when it's down there. And you just slide your bait up on the hook just a little bit, come back out, work it all up on there, and come through just like a regular Texas rig. Make sure you put enough bend in your worm to where when you come through it's going to be straight. Then you want to take that tip and just barely tuck it back under. Now there's your drop shot. As far as the rod, I believe I'm using a pretty stiff rod. I'm not a real big finesse guy. I think this is going to be a 7-foot. This is a 6.6 medium, which is probably about right. 6.6 medium quantum. It's KVD special. Like I said, I've never been a big drop shotter. I went in the store about 3 years ago. Before I ever knew anything about finesse fishing, I said, well, if Kevin Van Dam's got his name on it, it's probably good. And I don't know how realistic of a gauge that is because he's got his name on a lot of stuff, but I got the KVD 20 reel and a little quantum 6.6 medium. It's got a good tip to it, and I've caught a lot of fish on this little rig, and I've spent a lot of money on a lot more high dollar rigs and for bait casters and all, and this one's lasted, which like I said, I never really finessed much till the last couple of years, but it's lasted me through a lot of fish. So that's pretty much the setup I go with. Time to go see if we can catch some fish.